we are given function notation g divided by f, which is telling us that we want to take our function g and divide it by our function f. This notation is the same exact thing as if I were to say g of x divided by f of x. Now this type of problem is a little bit involved because it's going to involve factoring. We are going to need to factor that f of x. We won't do that initially. Let's just go ahead and set up what we have. So I can substitute g of x with x minus 1 because they're equivalent. And I can substitute f of x with 2x squared plus x minus 3. So I can write that down here. Okay, so it looks like we're done, but we're not, because we always want to simplify our fractions. And I believe this polynomial here can be factored. So I want to factor that, and I'm going to show you how I factor it. So let's just kind of go off to the side over here. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up this x, which is going to help me figure out what my factors are. So I'm going to take 2 times negative 3, and I get negative 6. I put that right there. My center term, there's a 1 right here. That's 1x, so that's here. So what I'm looking for are the factors of negative 6 that add up to 1. Well, let me think. What would that be? How about 2 times 3? That equals 6. One of these numbers needs to be negative. I'm going to pick the 2 because negative 2 plus 3 is positive 1. So negative 2 and 3 work. So what I'm looking for in particular are these numbers right here. I set my x up in order to get these two numbers here. These two numbers are replacing this center term right here. So let's work this out. So I'm going to keep my first term the same, which is 2x squared. Now, remember, negative 2 and 3 are taking the place of this 1x. So I'm just going to write negative 2x plus 3x, and then I have my minus 1 there. Oh, excuse me, my minus 3 at the end. Okay? So remember, this negative 2x plus 3x is just simply taking the place of that 1x. Problem is exactly the same. I really haven't done a whole lot here. Now, I'm going to take what I've done, and notice I have 4 numbers, 4 terms. So I'm going to put 2 terms on one side and 2 terms on the other. Now I'm just going to look at the left side. What do they have in common that I can factor out? Well, I can factor out a 2 from both terms, and I can factor out an x from both terms. So I'm going to factor out a 2x. When I factor out the 2x, well, 2x squared divided by 2x, that just gives me x. Negative 2x divided by 2x gives me negative 1. Okay? So now I'm going to look at my second half over here. What can I factor out? I can factor out a plus 3. I can factor out a positive 3. And that leaves me with, well, 3x divided by 3 leaves me with x. Negative 3 divided by 3 leaves me negative 1. So if you notice, I have a negative 1. Both of those are in parentheses. So since they're both the same, I can, essentially I'm factoring them out. I'm undistributing them. So I have negative 1, x minus negative 1. And what I have left is my 2x plus 3. So this is the factor of this polynomial, of this quadratic, down here in the denominator. So now what I can do is I'm going to copy my numerator, which is x minus 1, divided by my denominator, which I've factored to be this, which is x minus 1 times 2x plus 3. Now, I intentionally put that numerator in parentheses because that's one number in the numerator. I have two numbers here in the denominator. I have the number x minus 1 and the number 2x plus 3. They're in parentheses to say that that's one number. So my x minus 1 and my x minus 1 are the same number. So those divide out to 1. So then that leaves me with 1 over 2x plus 3. So g of x divided by f of x is equal to 1 divided by 2x plus 3.